Why is it that black Americans feel insulted when people refer to them as Africans? The short answer is there's nothing great about Africa, or they weren't taught anything great about Africa growing up. They have no problem being called the real Cushites. They have no problem being called the real Egyptians. They have no problem being called the real Israelite Jews. But an ordinary African, an ordinary West African, nah, that's an insult. And you know what's funny? Only 25% of black Americans can trace their ancestry beyond their great-grandparents. But the average FBA would want you to believe that they can trace their ancestry back to slavery in America. Human beings in general like to be associated with greatness. All that Africa did was sold people into slavery. Now, who would want to be associated with that? Now, America, no, that's a great country. That makes us great just by association. No, am I saying that black people weren't the first set of persons in America? No, I'm most definitely not saying that. Am I saying that individual identity isn't important? No, that's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying that is that stripping us of our identity along with religion was slavery's biggest.
How much you said then?
Now 3,000 person kill.
How many people?
That yellow girl.
Okay.
I tell you the truth. That yellow girl, I'm not telling you the yellow girl.
Wait. Those girls, those two girls now just between you now you tell it there, right? Now which I want to hear with that. So
he know now.
Whether you tell me that
now he said both of them.
Now for your hand, I don't know this answer so.
How come be say they give you 3,000 for the two?
Ever as I carry get go up
the two bros. I'm fit tell the two, not me the two.
Okay. I dey hear you.
Brother,
You know the other
this stuff, you don't get what you want to. The two now from your hand. The person wey come carry that knows what stuff. Now you cut that, they come carry it. So what do you want to talk again? What do you want to talk?
He knows that we don't.
Me, I don't think that's so.
We don't all the investigation. We don't do have.
Brother,
Done everything.
That area, Shifana, I stayed there for good 4 years. I dey live inside the Shifana for 4 years. I don't see Memorial, I don't see Jaraguza, I don't see Ashan Shifana. Yeah, I know in and out of that area. Then ask them. You understand? So
You said one person 3,000, right? Where the second one?
No, what I tell you.
brother, those two girls.
Y'all, Trump is not playing. This man said ain't gonna be no more bilingual. And let me explain what that means. So he recently announced that bilingual services will no longer be offered. So when we apply for jobs and it says must be bilingual, must be able to speak Spanish, ain't gonna be able to do that no more. This also applies to public services like aid. When you need aid, you go down to the county office and you get aid. Schools, hospitals, any type of public services. Everything's going to be in English. And he's not wrong. He's not wrong. There is no other country on planet Earth that has offered English as an alternative. Mind you, people in America, we travel. We be traveling. I don't know any other country whose national language isn't English, isn't English, that offers English option. It doesn't exist. So why does Trump get a bad rap for doing exactly what every other country does? Even the countries that the immigrants come from. They don't do this in Mexico. They're not giving you no English option. A lot of them know how to speak English. Some of them know how to speak English because of tourism, and that's only in the tourism areas. Most of them don't. He ain't wrong, y'all. I can't even front. And also, it kind of opens things up for us regular people to get a job, because there are a lot of jobs where you only qualify if you speak Spanish, aka you can't work here unless you're Mexican, Latin American, some type of, you speak Spanish, you're from a South American country. And that's not fair for Americans. I'm not mad at it, Trump. Now, again, he's not our Lord and Savior, and there are a lot of things he does that I do not agree with. This one, I agree with. And to be fair, when he said they're taking black jobs, he didn't lie. The thing is, they weren't just taking black jobs. They were taking up a lot of jobs, like the jobs that we could have if we weren't forced to be bilingual to get them, like those jobs. Or like our children who are just starting working, can't work in no fast food place because everyone is Hispanic and they won't hire nobody else. Like that. or, you know, construction jobs. They won't hire nobody else because they're not Hispanic and can't speak Spanish and communicate with people that don't speak English like that. He wasn't lying when he said that too, but everybody on here want to act like they didn't know what he was talking about. Anyway.
So I'm just going to focus on this video. Somebody has to inform me of the fixation of everything that is currently going on at this moment in time, because this is getting weird. This is getting real obsessive. Now, unless you're going to tell me that this type of content is making a lot of money for those out there who are not Black American, I get it. All right, so you're going to keep it going so that you can keep getting this, you know, type of revenue directly in, because you don't know how long, you know, this is going to go on for. You don't know when the train is going to stop, right? So why not just sit up there and keep it going, right? I get it in that aspect, right? But again, the obsession, and then you guys get on here and act as though that you're saying things factually. This man said that most FBAs, they can't even sit up there and trace rah, 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 rah. How do you know? Have you come into contact? Have you had conversations? Especially, have you talked to any Black Americans down south? Have you done that? Have you decided to take a poll? Have you decided to talk to anybody online? Have you decided to do any research online? Right? Any which way, because you can get in contact with people in a multitude of ways and happen to get information. On top of the fact that there are a lot of Black American elders who are here from the South that can recall and tell you where it is that they are from, who it is that they're from, where their parents are from, and where their parents are from. So it's a little bit weird directly to me how this man can come through. And again, he's not Black American. He can come through with whatever certainty that he feels and state online that most FBA, this, that, and the third. That's some crazy work. And then you want to say that we're offended in a sense because we don't know certain things and all this other type of stuff and rah, rah, rah. We don't care. If we as Black Americans simply tell you that we are American, that we are Black American, not African American, it is what it is. That's how Black Americans want it to roll. But I'm going to also state as well that there needs to be a cutoff point, because since about roughly the 80s, because of Jesse Jackson, from what I was able to hear and understand, he was the main one that pretty much coined it and had the whole of the Black community pretty much using that branding. Before then, we had other names that were used to reference or that, you know, people would just so happen to call us by it. And that's what it was before that. There needs to be a cutoff point, because if there is a point in time where monies or different things are due by way of the government to Black Americans, we are going to be the ones at the forefront directly of it. Everybody else is directly to the back of the bus. Everybody else is directly to the back of the bus. Y'all gotta wait y'all turn. It is what it is. I don't care how it is that you feel directly about it, even hearing it. It be like that. All I'm saying is there has to be a cutoff point specifically for that, because that would also allow people to do an easy slide in order to get money. Just like if Black Americans continue to use the terminology African American, that's grouping everybody directly in. So Black Americans, quote unquote, African Americans, and then the Africans from Africa coming to America, which then makes them African American. Again, this is why there needs to be a certain type of separation, because I told people before, if you look directly at Elon, he, for all intents and purposes, is an African American. So this is how a lot of these brandings, a lot of these words, people got to be very careful. People got to be very mindful on the terms and the brandings that you just so happen to use, especially when it deals with the United States and how it is that you are, recognized and different things of such. So they said this: in Jamaica, official civil registration of births for all individuals, including Black individuals, started in 1878. This registration process was fully enforced island-wide by 1880. Before the implementation of civil registration in 1870, 1878, birth records were primarily kept by Anglican Church and other religious denominations in the form of baptism records. These records can date back as early as the 1600s in some locations. Therefore, while church records may contain records of baptisms of Black individuals from earlier time periods, official government mandate birth registration for the general population, including Black individuals, began in Jamaica in 1878. So what I'm hearing is that you guys can't even fully go back a long time as well, right? Even though I know at least of one Black American who was able to trace his family back to about the good 17 plus hundreds. So again, I'm a little bit confused because you guys are about as in a whole of an island. Your records are one tsunami, flash flood, or a hurricane away from pretty much not existing at this moment in time, especially if you depended on the church to keep track of those records the way that churches used to keep track of records. And I'm pretty sure a lot of those records really have not been updated, because some people like having things directly in books. Some people like having things set directly on files. Some people don't want copies of stuff electronically, which is a little bit crazy to me. I feel like everybody should have their records every single way, even if it got to be written in the Rosetta Stone. It got to be, written, carved directly out there in stone so it can last from now up until the end of time. You should do all of that so that you can make sure that you have proper copies of your records. But again, like I said before, it's crazy how people are so concerned and worried about Black Americans, what it is that we feel, how it is that we think, and what it is that we call ourselves, and all these other types of things. It's crazy. And again, I'm watching all of these groups of people continuously, day in and day out. I gave myself a break today. And then the one time I decided that, you know what, let me, just get online real quick to just see what's happening. If anything is, because I feel like if I took a break, I feel like everybody else should be taking a break, right? Obviously, I was wrong. Obviously, everybody's not on the same time. And here comes this video, right? Again, this is, like I said, I don't know what to tell people. I really don't. And again, for a lot of those who don't like Black Americans speaking on this and wanting to say this and that, I just want to be a simple reminder. Y'all need to watch your mouths. You need to remember who it is that you're directly speaking to. You need to talk to us with some type of value and respect. That's the only thing that we ask of people. Talk to us with respect. Acknowledge the things that we are telling you. Again, the craziest part is Black Americans aren't saying anything disrespectful to anybody. We're just simply saying like, yo, we just want to be called as Black Americans, up until further notice, or whatever, branding, others out there want to sit up there and use. If that's what they want to be called, that's what they want to be called. All you have to do is just be like, all right, no problem. Y'all want to be resistant and y'all want to get online and always preach about something as if y'all know, as if y'all can really teach us something. Y'all can't teach us nothing. Y'all can't teach us nothing. This is what our families are for. This is what our history is for. This is what our records are for. This is what verbal history and memories and things of that nature are directly for, all of which none of you guys have when it deals with Black American history here in the United States. Y'all got none of that. So again, this is why a lot of this stuff is a bit weird for y'all. It's throwing you guys directly off. It's throwing you guys for a loop. Y'all don't know what to really make of it, heads or tails. And again, it's really, if I'm being honest, it's not for you to really try to figure out why you guys are so fixated and y'all want to stand on the soapbox like this is the hill that you guys really want to die on. It makes no sense. Like I said, and I stated this in a previous live stream, and I stated this in previous videos for the Jamaicans directly out there talking slick to Black Americans. Yo, you got China directly on your backs at this moment in time. You got beaches that you can't even sit up there and go to. You got a type of tourism that specifically happens with your men by way of women of other nationalities and races coming directly to your island in order to be with those men, on top of the fact that the men have one of the highest rates out of the world when it deals with fraternity fraud that happens directly to them, on top of the highest percentage of men that currently at this moment in time are raising a child or children that are not even theirs biologically, because the woman lied and pinned a kid directly on them, because your system is so broken. So like I said, there's a lot of problems, many more problems other than those, that you guys need to be fixated and worried on, and not fixated and worried about Black Americans. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I stated and listed in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.